Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Films and Stuff podcast. I'm Ethan, joined, as always, by most valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
It is the weekend, which means it is time for the stream or skip segment. I know the drill. You know the drill. Regular listeners know the drill. New listeners may not. So please, Pete, if you will, give the quick rundown of the rules and regulations of our stream or skip segment.
All right. Ethan and I have prepared lists of TV shows for each other to watch. Every week, we randomly assign each other one of those shows. We watch at least 2 episodes if it's a series, or 30 minutes if it's a feature-length program. And on that basis, we determine if that show is worthy of being streamed or skipped.
Hence the name of the segment, Stream or Skip. You've been on a little bit of a good run. I've been on a little bit of a down run. But this week, I was on Apple TV Plus, which generally gives us very high-quality shows. And the name of the series that I was assigned is called Government Cheese, which I think is a pretty good title because both the words are pretty easy to remember. And it's a little bit fanciful when you put them together. I assumed that this would be a comedy. My instincts were correct. It is David Oyelowo. So he's got a pretty good track record. Let me give you a brief rundown of what the plot of the show is about. Hampton, he is incarcerated. He's in a prison. This seems to take place sometime in like the 70s based on the cars, fashion and stuff. So he is in a prison, which was kind of like a medium security gig. He served the entirety of his sentence. He is released and he goes back to his house and his family. He's got 2 kind of teenage sons. He's got a wife. And his new thing is that he's become religious while he was in prison. And he's got a very good, positive, optimistic, glasses half full kind of attitude or disposition towards everything. He's very upbeat, always looks at the bright side of things. Life gives him lemons. He makes lemonade kind of perspective. And his big thing is that for the entirety of the time that he was in jail, he was kind of assigned to like be in the machine shop, so he kind of learned a trade. And one of the things he kind of learned was how to do like all this different drilling. I don't know what they drilled. And he realized that one of the challenges when you do a lot of drilling is that the drill bits either become dull or break. So what he invented was kind of like when you put a pencil in a pencil sharpener, it's always becomes sharp. He kind of created a drill bit that was self-sharpening. It's not intended to be kind of like a realistic invention. It's obviously part of the show. But his thing is the self-sharpening drill bit. He's created this himself. And when he's out of jail, he's got the belief that he's going to sell this. It's going to make him a lot of money. He'll take care of his family and so forth. So that's his big thing. So the first 3 episodes show him getting out of jail, being reunited with the family, taking the initial steps to kind of create his prototype product, which he calls the magic bit. And he's basically just kind of going around all these different adventures, trying to sell his product, trying to get like a small business loan, trying to keep his wife happy, trying to reconnect with his sons. We learned that he's also got a debt from prison. It's not entirely clear why yet. So he's just kind of balancing a lot of different like dramas at the same time, all keeping a very upbeat, positive disposition or attitude. So the show is pleasant to watch. Even though I describe him as upbeat and like optimistic, it's not like a Ted Lasso kind of thing. It's more of a just always smiling or, oh, don't worry about it. Or, I mean, he just kind of jumps from challenge to challenge, but in a good way. But it doesn't come across the same as kind of like a Ted Lasso type of unwavering optimism or disposition. The name Government Cheese comes from the idea that I believe it was his mother who was known for always kind of making the best out of things. And it was said that she could make like the most delicious sandwich, just based on like government cheese, right? So basically like subsidized cheese or the cheese you'd get like in a public school cafeteria or something. So that's kind of where it is. And it kind of refers to him, looking on the bright side of things or being optimistic or something like that. This is a pleasant show to watch, or to use a negative, it's not an unpleasant show to watch, but there's not really a hook to it that like captivates me. It's not like a Breaking Bad kind of, they're hopping from overcoming challenge to overcoming challenge. That's kind of what Breaking Bad is, right? It's one problem leads to another problem, and we see how they get out of them. It's also not a comedy. Like there's a comedic element to it, but nothing that really made me laugh out loud. Like both of his kids are kind of, let's call them quirky. One aspires to be a pole vaulter. The other's kind of like always wearing a cowboy hat. Like you can tell that they're trying to be quirky, but it's nothing that's like really hitting and super funny. Problem I had with this show, and maybe I'll say the positives first. Very well cast, very well acted. Production quality is good. I love the kind of 70s decor. It seems very authentic in terms of everything from dishware to telephones to cars and stuff like that. I like the guy, but there's no hook in this to kind of keep me watching. It's not funny. The drama is not really dramatic enough. It's not a mystery. It's not a thriller. There's just not I think a thing about it to like kind of keep me watching. I mean, it's about kind of hopping around, again, trying to sell his drill or his self-sharpening drill bit, which is not like super compelling. The issues between him and his wife trying to reconcile, not really a drama. There's just nothing in it to kind of keep me watching. So unfortunately, I have to give this a skip. It's really not close to being even a mooch, which kind of tracks with the IMDb rating of 6.4. That's my contribution to Streamer Skip today. Maybe you can pick me up this week. What do you got?
Unfortunately, spoiler alert, I can't.
Oh boy.
I watched a show called The Four Seasons on Netflix.
Okay.
Now, it stars most famously Domingo Coleman, Tina Fey, and Steve Carell.
I mean, that's an all-star,
Pretty
not
good
just
cast.
all-star, that's like a Hall of Fame cast.
Yeah, pretty good cast. And based on that casting of Tina Fey and Steve Carell, I thought it would be a comedy, but it is
Oh, yeah.
not.
Huh.
It's called The Four Seasons. I believe it's an adaptation of a novel. It's basically a story about three couples. Domingo Coleman is in a gay relationship with his Italian partner. Tina Fey is with Will Forte. And Steve Carell is in a third relationship, also with someone famous, but her name escapes me now.
Okay.
And they meet every year. They're close friends. All three couples are good friends. They meet and go on vacations together. They're that kind of family friends.
Okay.
And the show starts, it's called The Four Seasons because every couple episodes is based on a new season. So the first season, I believe, is spring. They do a vacation getaway at Steve Carell's house. So all the three couples are there together. And it's at that weekend that we find out that Steve Carell wants to get a divorce from his wife after 25 years of marriage. And it's their 25th anniversary that weekend.
Okay. Nice.
And he's just not happy, etc. And it's kind of like a little bit of a comedy of errors because he wants to break up with her. He thinks that she's lost the spark in the marriage. She sends him away for bagels. That's 2 hours away. But the reason she does that is because, surprise, surprise, she's actually called everyone she knows to the house for a renewal of their vows.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's like one of those no one's at fault, but like everyone's at fault kind of things, right?
Exactly. So it's one of those situations. And then, of course, so that's the first two episodes. I watched the third episode. They go on a vacation, all three couples, except this time, Steve Carell is with his new girlfriend. So between the second and the third episode, he has broken it off with his wife.
Oh.
And he's got a new girlfriend who's like 30 years younger than him. The total cliche. It's fine. It's not a comedy. I thought it was going to be, but it's really not. And it's not my kind of show. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a dramedy, but not quite.
Is there swearing or vulgarity or
There is some swearing, but it's not vulgar for the sake of being vulgar. You know what I mean? It feels
okay?
relatively natural. In any case, it's well produced. I'm sure that it's something my parents would really like because it's like a slice of life kind of show, but it's not for me. Like it doesn't have anything in it that I really enjoyed. It's not a drama that really captivates me. It's like a relationship drama, and those things are not fun. I really don't have much to say about it. Well shot, well acted, well everything, but it's just meh. It's very boring.
This is something that you and I have seen more than once, quite a bit actually. It tells, I think, how hard it is to really make good entertainment. I mean, now you and I and kind of like everyone that we our listeners are all like really spoiled because we've got so many options. If you look back 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, when there are kind of like three network channels, all you had to do was make kind of like a show that was coherent and it would automatically have viewers, right? If you
Right.
like think back to all the sitcoms or soap operas or, evening like dramas. And now I think that the bar is so high, which is a good thing, that even if you make a very, very good show that's well cast, properly budgeted, technically good, that if it doesn't have kind of the right cadence or the right tone, or like I talked about earlier, like a hook to draw you in, it's viewed as kind of like a disappointment.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're seeing now, which is it's not just enough to make a really good show. It needs to have like this emotional element or kind of like a compelling plot. And I think that it's that's kind of the secret sauce, which I think we're seeing that it is missing from a lot of these shows. And I think there's so much competition to kind of like get a good cast, to get things, made, to get something that competes. That one of the things that's kind of lost is what's the hook in the show? Like what's the reason to watch this? Is there a compelling, character arc? Is there a compelling, story? Is there a mystery to unravel? Is it funny? Right. And if
Yeah.
you're missing, I think if you don't have any of those elements, it seems to kind of fall flat. And audiences now, not just you and I, but everyone is kind of like sophisticated enough that they can kind of see through that and say, look, it's not for me. Maybe if this was on network television in the 90s, where I only had two other choices, I would continue to watch this. But now, because I've got 50 choices, not an exaggeration, why am I spending my time on something that's just kind of meh,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
Let's take a positive though before we sign off for the day. You were assigned Mobland 6 or 8 weeks ago, which was on Paramount Plus. You gave it a must subscribe. I started a little bit of it and I also gave it a must subscribe, but over the past few days, I've watched a few more episodes and I just wanted to reiterate how good and repulsive Mobland is, right?
Yeah.
First of all, Tom Hardy, a very old looking Pierce Brosnan, a very, very old looking Helen Mirren,
Yeah.
but the rest of the cast, Patty Considine, which was the guy on House of the Dragon, right?
That's right.
It's a great cast. And as repulsive as the story is, because it's London gangsters and a lot of threatening stuff and killy stuff and overall like bad behavior, but it's a very, very compelling show. I think because it kind of humanizes. I think the best gangster shows, and I think maybe The Sopranos started this, is things that kind of humanize the gangsters, right?
Yeah.
Like it shows their day-to-day lives, that they're not just when you think of like Scarface, they're just always in the Scarface mode, right? You never really show the guy kind of like getting groceries or dealing with kids or dealing with problems, right? I mean, he was always in a Scarface mode. This is showing a little bit more of like the personal life, the family life, all the other issues. Again, repulsive in terms of the violence, the ugliness, but very, very compelling show with Hardy, Pierce Brosnan. on Paramount Plus. So I just wanted to make that reiterated plug for it. So Pete, that is, I guess, a wrap on Stream or Skip for this week. But before we sign off, what have we assigned each other for next week?
All right. The random number generator has spoken, and next week you're going to be on Amazon. You are watching The House of David.
Oh, yeah.
And I am on Apple TV watching The Cowboy Cartel.
Ooh, I think that's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. It sounds like it could be up my alley.
So we've got our assignments for next week. But Pete, before we sign off, give our listeners our social media, YouTube credits so they can add, they can ring the bell, they can like, they can disagree, they can make recommendations so that we've got more to talk about next week.
All right. Let us know what you think of The Four Seasons and Government Cheese. Let us know if you've got any additions that we should be adding to our streamer skip list. You can DM us on Instagram at Films and Stuff Podcast. But of course, the best thing to do, like this video, leave a comment below, hit the bell, and subscribe to our channel.
Pete could not have said it better myself. Appreciate you joining. Listeners, thanks for tuning in to the Stream or Skip segment on the Films and Stuff Podcast. We'll see you all next week. Bye now.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.